I don't want you falling into the trap of starting off the new year in a state of panic, thinking about all of the ways that you need to change yourself either overnight or over the course of the next 365 days. We are not doing that in 2026. No more. That is what I say to that state of panic. If we want to actually change our lives, to come out on the other side of 2026 with this feeling of success, like we've done it, like we've actually accomplished what we wanted to this year, you have to start off differently. You cannot start this year in a state of panic because that's when nothing changes. That's when nothing happens because our brains genuinely cannot handle that amount of pressure. It just wants to shut off and never think about our resolutions ever again. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of To Be Known. If you're new here, my name is Makayla Morman, and I am your go-to girl when it comes to anything personal development related in your 20s. I'm quite literally obsessed with this stuff. I mean, I talk about it every single week here on the podcast. And since it is the start of a new year, I wanted to give you something that can actually help you with your life. Not a list of resolutions that you should have or pressure for the ways that you need to change. I'm not here to do that. If you want 2026 to feel different than all of the years before, you have to start off differently. And this episode is going to be perfect for you because it's simple. It's easy. These things are very minor things that you can change in your life, little lessons for you to learn before you start off this new year in 2026. You need to build your life one micro commitment at a time. Your life does not change overnight by stacking on 20 brand new habits for you to do overnight. It changes one step at a time. Think about what the ideal version of yourself does on the day-to-day. See the ways that how they live their life is similar to what you are currently doing now. And notice the things that they do that are different than what you're currently doing now. Compare, contrast from your current life and see what you can add on one step at a time today for you to become the ideal version of yourself that you just thought about. It's not about 20 brand new habits. It's just about committing yourself to one change and seeing it through until it becomes ingrained into yourself so that you can level up slowly but surely to become the ideal version of you. Choose one singular habit that the ideal version of yourself does on a day-to-day and let this become your core micro commitment that you focus on right now. It should be just a simple habit that you can ingrain into your life very easily that gets you one step closer to becoming this better version of yourself that you wish to become. Remember, this micro commitment needs to be as simple as possible. It should not be dependent on motivation. It should be sustainable. It's just a micro commitment that you need to focus on, let's say for a 30-day period of time before it becomes ingrained in your life so that you could focus on the next thing. If your micro commitment feels like it's almost too simple, that means that you are doing it right. If you are wanting to be more connected to yourself, maybe your micro commitment looks like journaling or having an intention setting practice or practicing gratitude first thing in the morning or last thing at night. If you are wanting to be healthier, maybe this micro commitment looks like meal prepping at the beginning of the week or drinking 100 ounces of water or cutting out sugary drinks entirely. Maybe it looks like you are consuming content that supports you and your career. Maybe it looks like reading a book. If you are wanting to invest in your self-care more, maybe it looks like going out on a walk once a day. Maybe it looks like a 10-minute at-home workout. Maybe it looks like building out your skincare routine or buying nicer things for yourself in the shower. Whatever it is that you want to have in your life, it should genuinely just feel like such a small, easy, simple thing for you to do on a day-to-day basis. That is a micro commitment, and that is how you are going to genuinely change your life over time because you are focusing on one thing at a time. It is a simple, non-negotiable shift that you are making within yourself that you can actually stick to. It should be simple, it should be sustainable, and it should feel like it is not dependent on motivation. When your micro commitment is strong, all of your other goals, all of your other commitments become that much easier to commit yourself to. You need to curate your inputs for the life that you want. Your brain becomes what you repeatedly consume. Your thoughts are not random. Your self-talk is not random. Your moods are not random. They are shaped every single day by what you consume. So with that in mind, you really have to come to understand the media that you do consume and see how it affects you on your day-to-day basis. Most people try to change their life by forcing new habits into their day-to-day routine, but where people kind of have this lack when it comes to wanting to change their life is that they are still looking and inputting the same things that have created and shaped the life that they are currently trying to escape from. When you are being very conscious about what content and what media and what things you do consume, that is when real change occurs, because you cut out the bad stuff and you start introducing better things into your day to day that end up changing your thought patterns, end up changing your self-talk, end up changing your actions and the way that you bring yourself into this world. Be more conscious about the media that you do consume. Is it feeding you in a way? Remember, inputs are not neutral. They are instructions on how your brain thinks your life, your mood, your thoughts, your self-talk should be. I don't want you to think that inputs that I'm talking about right now are only just media or the people that you hang out around. Inputs also look like the tone of the content that you consume, the people that you follow, the conversations that you replay in your head, the podcasts you listen to while driving, the accounts that you scroll through when you're tired. All of these things are inputs. You need to consciously think about what you are looking at and what you are consuming on a day-to-day basis so that you can be more intentional with your life. Are you doing it in a way where you are rushed, where you are feeling distracted? Do you pull out your phone when you are feeling anxious? The way that you consume also shapes your life. All of these things matter at the end of the day. If you want to have more confidence, then you need to make sure that the media that you do see supports this feeling within yourself. Unfollow or mute any people or accounts where you feel any sort of comparison to them in your life. You should not be looking at content that kind of positions yourself or frames how you think about your worth, your appearance, where you are at in life as a problem that you need to fix. Stop looking at it. If you want to have more creativity in your life, you need to make sure that you are watching and consuming media that supports this. Make sure that you are watching and listening to content that genuinely is about building something in life, that gives you tips, that gives you advice on how you can create something yourself instead of just consuming what everyone else is doing. If you want to have more discipline or motivation, make sure that you are watching people who are examples of what you want to have in your life, that give you genuine advice, that show you the way online. You need to follow the people that live the life that you want for yourself and not just talk about it. As you can tell, I am very passionate about the fact that you need to curate your inputs so that you can create the life that you want. What are you listening to, and how is it feeding how you think and feel every single day? Is it serving you or is it deflating you? Are you allowing yourself to have a moment of silence, or do you constantly need to be stimulated? I feel like it is good to have silence in our lives and to be very intentional about the music and the audiobooks and the podcasts that we do consume, because again, they shape our perspectives about ourselves and our lives. Remember, your inputs shape your identity long before habits ever will. Learn to regulate instead of react. Now, this one is very important because 90% of us are just flying by the seat of our pants, reacting to every little thing in our lives, realizing that we are reacting instead of regulating how we feel. When we are overthinking, when we are in a state of burnout, when we are procrastinating, these things are a nervous system deregulation issue. It just means that we are not actually paying attention to how we feel and what we need. And this is where lack starts. Regulation is not about being calm all the time. It is making sure that you are taking the time to pause and reflect and see how you actually feel so that you can respond to it rather than react. When you regulate in your life, everything will improve. Your relationships, your decision-making, your routines, it will become so much easier when you shift from reacting to regulating yourself in these moments. Now, I can't give you all the tools right now to help you regulate your emotions or your reactions, but some things that have worked for me when it does come to gaining this skill more is journaling. Now, you can see a theme here. I'm a very big fan of journaling. I talk about it all the time here on the podcast, but I do really think that is a great way for you to have more emotional growth and more emotional regulation whenever you are feeling a very large emotion. To just take a beat, take a second and write about it, I think is a very powerful thing for you to do. But sometimes we don't have the time to do that, or we don't want to do that. And if you are intimidated by journaling, or that's just not your thing, some other tools that you can use on a day-to-day basis is the pause and reflect rule before you respond. So pause before you respond basically just means that whenever you are feeling a big emotion, whether it is by yourself or with a loved one, or in any situation that you can possibly feel a state of anxiety or panic or anger or frustration, pause and reflect before you respond, because this is literally the shift from reaction to regulation in motion. It just means that you are taking a beat, naming the feeling that you are feeling, and asking yourself, why am I feeling this way and how can I solve it? And when you ask yourself those questions in the moment, it can feel kind of weird in the moment to just be like, okay, I need to pause before I respond, before I react. But it's very telling about what you need in the internal narratives that you do have about whatever emotions or how you handle them in the past. It is very, very, very eye-opening. And the last tip that I can give you to help you shift from reacting to regulating is this idea of the 10 things I know to be true practice. Now, this is something that I typically have done when I'm in a state of like panic or anxiety or just rumination, where I'm just rethinking about something over and over and over again and creating my own, I don't know, mind tunnel spin narrative about it. I go through and I write down or think about 10 things that I know to be true. And by the time I go through the 10 things, I am in a much more calmer, grounded state of mind, because it just pulls you back down to earth and really grounds you when you do that practice. Even with all these tools, what I really just want you to know is that when you shift from reacting or responding to this idea of regulating, it does not mean that you have to be less emotional. It just means that you understand yourself better. And this can help you a lot throughout the year. When you have a grip on your emotions, on your thoughts, and on your actions, that's how you have a lot of control over your life. And this is just something that you can do to help yourself. Remember, you don't need to be less emotional this year. You just need to be less reactive. You need to stop outsourcing your identity. A new year is never going to tell you who to be. Algorithms can't tell you who to be. Your friends, your family, they cannot tell you who to be. The only person who is in charge of your identity is yourself. And that is what you need to know. You need to let go of any comparison, of any little track that you have in your mind that has been shaped by other people or things in your life. Your identity is the sum of your daily choices, not other people's expectations. So let go of whatever people-pleasing, performing, surviving thing that you've got going on. You need to step into yourself this year. You cannot change your life by holding on to a version of yourself that you have outgrown. Yes, the people in your life matter, but they should not define you. Their lives are not your blueprint. Neither are anyone else's that you see online. Your year will not feel any better until you claim your life as your own. All you need to do to have a successful year is to pick one thing and take it seriously. I am a fan of choosing a theme to base your life around over the course of a year. I rather do this than have a list of resolutions, and it has worked for me. When I have had themes in the past, themes of opportunity, themes of ambition and creativity, my life has centered around that for the year that I have chosen those themes. And everything changed in my life when I did focus on just one thing at a time to take seriously rather than a misguided list of resolutions. You need to avoid this January overwhelm of feeling like you have to change everything all at once, because that is only going to put you into analysis paralysis, feeling like you are having this identity overhaul, overwhelm, it is not going to work in your favor. You need to choose one area of your life that you want to focus on and get it right. You just need to choose one area, one thing, one theme that gets your full undivided attention. Remember, you are not aiming for perfection. You are just aiming for presence so that you can genuinely show up for this idea, concept, whatever it is that you want to have more of day in and day out. Because the moment that you let perfectionism sneak its sturdy little hands in, that is when it is no longer yours. So what do you want to focus on? What is your theme going to be for the year? Is it going to be confidence? Is it going to be health? Maybe it's career growth or abundance, whatever abundance looks like to you. Maybe you want to end the year feeling successful. How do you define success? You need to think about what it is that you want to focus on and let that be your theme and your guiding light for this year. This thing that you choose to focus on should not be based on shoulds that you think you should achieve for the year. It should be based on what you think is actually going to deepen and change and improve your life the most. Remember, if you want a better life, choose one thing at a time and take it seriously. With all this being said, 2026 does not need a new you in order to be successful. It just needs a more intentional version of yourself. And you could take all of the lessons that I gave you today, all 5 of them, and create a better life for yourself. These things are just meant to ground you by choosing your inputs to create the life that you want, by building upon micro habits one step at a time, by regulating your emotions instead of reacting to them, by internally figuring out your identity instead of outsourcing it, and by having your one main huge focus of the year. These things are going to be the foundation to creating a better version of you, something that you can walk away from 2026 feeling like you're successful, feeling like your life is abundant, and feeling like a better, more fuller version of yourself than maybe you're feeling now. I hope that everything I shared with you in today's episode resonated with you, because all of these lessons are things that I have really taken with me in my life on a day-to-day and have learned over time and have genuinely made my life so much better. I still have to come back to these things day in and day out. Remember, I am human. We are all human. But I know that when I focus on these 5 lessons, these foundational things, they make my life so much better, and they have the power to do the same for you. And so, with all that being said, I hope that you have a great rest of your year in 2026. If you liked today's episode and you're watching on YouTube, please hit the like button and subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify, please give this podcast a 5-star review and follow on there. And if you really want to follow along the To Be Known journey, you can follow on Instagram and TikTok at To Be Known Pod. The links will always be in the show notes down below. And I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your day and beautiful rest of your year. Okay, stay true to you. Bye.